What is going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel. I know it has been a little bit, about a week and a half since I posted a long form video on here. Took a nice little break to get that mental health back because of the lull that Destiny is currently in for that next about 90 days until the final shape. So we are back with a Warlock build for y'all using the Verity's Brow, the Chad helmet for the Warlocks, giving us that fourth magic. As you can see right here, weapon final blows with a damage type matching your subclass energy grants us death throws, which provides a grenade damage bonus and grants you grenade energy. When you have death throws and throw a grenade, nearby allies gain greatly increased grenade regeneration for a short time. So with this, death throws stacks up to ×5 when you get those defeats with the matching damage type. So for us, you can see we are using a solar subclass to get those nice hand cannon defeats, as well as our grenade launcher stacking up to ×5. Now for each of those stacks, it is a 20% damage increase. So when you are at that ×5, your grenades are doing double the damage that they usually do. As for the regeneration rate of the grenade energy, especially for those allies that are nearby you, it is a 50% increase for each stack. So at the max, it is 250% of what their grenade charge rate would be. So 2.5 times faster will they get back our grenades. So this is a little support helmet, as well as for us being able to get grenade defeats very easily. We're going to be able to pop our super also very quick because of this build. So starting us off with our mods and the stats that you should be going for. For this build, we're taking it into basically any type of game content you can go into. GM's raids, just a normal nightfall with that 100 in resilience, 100 in recovery, as well as 100 in discipline. For this, like I said, we're going to get our Well of Radiance very quickly because of our mods that we have on, as well as our fragments. So with the mods that we're going to have on this, Ashes to Assets right here, helping us very heavily to get back our super, because this is a grenade spam build. We're going to be using special ammo finder for that wither horde, as well as harmonic siphon to create even more orbs of power for us. On top of that, we're going to be using grenade kickstarter to get back even more grenade energy when we throw that grenade out, as well as firepower bolstering detonation to get back our rift, as well as to create even more orbs of power. Depending on the activity you are going into for your resistant mods, I just went with arc, void, and solar, so you can see the difference. You can go really anything in these chest piece slots. As for the boots right here, absolution with recuperation and innervation, being able to get our grenade back, as well as some health and our other abilities. On top of that, we're going to be using powerful attraction, so when we throw down our rift, we're going to automatically collect all of those orbs next to us, allowing us to get that armor charge so we can use that grenade kickstarter. On top of that, using a bomber with reaper, so even more orbs of power around, so we can really proc bomber and all of these on our leg mods. When we move on to weapon choices for this build, we're going to be using the Zawuli's Bane with that explosive payload incandescent crafted, so we can get unstoppable to proc. Plus, with those solar defeats, very easy to get them, especially with the artifact mod this season down here. We will go over that in a second to have that solar really be juiced, so we can get Verity's Brow and that death throws to proc. We're going to be using Cry Mutiny with incandescent Vorpal as well for that extra little bit of boss damage, and then of course the trusty dusty Wither Horde, one of the best PvE game weapons for ad clear, as well as that damage output. When we move on to the artifact here in the Queen Foil Sensor, we're going to be using mainly these up here. We got the Flame, Fiber, and Freeze, not using it too much on this unless you switch onto like a Stasis or a Strand Fusion over top of that Wither Horde. Totally up to you. Now right here is our three important ones with Flint Striker, rapid precision hits, and rapid solar weapon final blows grant us radiant, so we can do even more damage. On top of that, torch, well, we are radiant, deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by strand or stasis, as well as kindling trigger, radiant causes solar weapons to apply scorch to unscorched combatants, so the solar synergy of all this is beautiful. We're going to be using revitalizing blast, so causing damage with solar abilities weakens champions and bosses, so that'll be super nice with this death throw throws build and being able to spam those grenades at champions and bosses with Raise of Precision, Well Radiant, Solar Precision Final Blows cause combatants to ignite, and if you're going in solo, which this build is really more of a support build with the Well of Radiance and Death Throws, so I just threw on Solar Operative because it is a super nice thing to have, plus nothing else really fits inside of this build. Last but certainly not least, our abilities, aspects, and fragments. Well of Radiance, of course, so we can have that support in the endgame content, easily the best PvE subclass for our Warlock here. Now we're going to be using Healing Rift with Balance Glide as well as Incinerator, Snap, and for me, I really like Fusion Grenade, but you could go with also Solar Grenade on this build. For me, using Heat Rises, so when we consume our grenade, we're going to gain that Heat Rises, also creates a burst of healing energy that heals and cures our nearby allies. When we're in the air with that Heat Rises, we're also going to get melee energy so we can spam the Incinerator Snap. Now to make our grenades better, we're going to be using Touch of Flame. So for me, with the fusion grenades, they explode twice, but like I said, the other options with Solar Grenade is also a very good one because it longer duration that it'll linger, plus it emits those blobs of lava, which extra damage is pretty nice, and with this we get that next extra increase to damage because of death throws on our helmet. Now when we move down to our fragments, first off we got Ember of Resolve, so grenade final blows cure you. Since we're going to be spamming grenades with this build, allows us to get back our health very easily with that little burst of heal. Now we're going to be using Ember of Blistering, defeating targets with ignitions grants us that grenade energy, allowing us to spam even more grenades. With defeating scorched targets grants melee energy and creates fire sprites. We're going to be using those fire sprites because they also grant grenade energy when we pick them up, plus Ember of Mercy over here. When we revive an ally, we gain restoration, or when we pick up a fire sprite, we also gain restoration. So all the fire sprites that we create from searing are going to help us get our grenade plus restoration. So this build, very easy, like I said, to take into that end game content. Just got to switch up your solar weapons depending on the champion mods, but you're able to become radiant with this build very easily with the seasonal artifact. And then we got the unstoppable in our hand cannon, plus the ability to have that 100% increase to damage, so doubling our damage on our grenades. Super nice for clearing some of those stronger enemies, as well as giving our fellow allies, which is a super important part of this build, that 2.5 times regeneration rate, so they are getting grenades back as well very quickly, allowing everybody on the team to spam them very fast. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this build. Very fun little build for y'all. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this long season. Got a lot more to go, sprinkling in some variety content with Pal World for sure, so be on the lookout for that if you are into the Pal World. Got about 400 hours into that because I have been just going for it. So truly appreciate all you guys. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.